Can you replace your jacket zipper? Well, what are we looking at and how can we tell? In this video, we're going to look at some jacket zippers and we're going to follow the stitching so that we can see how complicated it will be to switch them out. Before we get to that, let's learn a little bit more about zippers so that then we can understand some of the ways that zippers are broken and whether that means they need replaced or they can be repaired. This is a separating zipper for a jacket. It would be really inconvenient if at the bottom of this jacket it didn't separate and then the garment wearer wouldn't be able to easily remove the jacket. So if we're talking about a jacket, we need a separating zipper. This is a dual separating parka zipper. What dual separating means is that it zips up from the bottom and it zips down from the top. This zipper is made of molded plastic, where a lot of the other jacket zippers you'll find are made of metal. So you'll want to get the type that you prefer. Other separating zippers will only zip one direction and they will have a pin at the bottom. That pin can separate from the actual zipper tape and it can make it a little bit more challenging to make the zipper function, and that can be one breaking point. We're going to talk about some others as well. Let's learn a couple terms before we continue. The navy along the side of the zipper is called the zipper tape. The metal are the zipper teeth, and then this is the zipper pull at the top, and you'll see a clasp there. That is a stopper, the zipper stopper. There's a clasp at the top and at the bottom if you have a non-separating zipper. For the purposes of a jacket, at that bottom, you'll have a pin. If you're replacing an existing zipper, you'll need to know how to measure it. In order to measure a zipper, you will only measure the actual zipper portion, not just the tape. Measure from the pin or stopper at the bottom all the way to the top of the zipper teeth, and make sure you get that size or longer. You can shorten zippers. Zippers purchased in big box stores will have the directions on the back of how to shorten them. If you got a zipper that doesn't come with the directions, that's totally fine. There are tons of tutorials online, and it might be a good idea to watch a video anyways and not just follow the written instructions. Let's see how measuring an actual jacket works with that separating pin. To measure, you'll need to make sure you start at that bottom pin and then measure up to the top of the zipper teeth. This hoodie definitely frustrated me and I tried measuring it twice, the same answer both times, 25 1/4. Before you go buy that replacement zipper, let's talk a little bit more about what it entails to take a zipper out of a jacket. This jacket would be by far the easiest. You can see right here the zipper tape is completely exposed and you can see all of the stitches that would need to be removed. In garment construction, the zipper would rarely be the last piece that is installed. So what that means is that we need to examine along the zipper and find out all of the places that are sewn over top of when our zipper was installed. I was really excited to have this example to show because the zipper is very exposed. You can see the stitch line. This is holding in the zipper, and I'm going to go to the top in a moment. But I'm just taking a look here at all of the places where the stitching is on this jacket to see how difficult it will be. The stitching here where it says Lee is over top of our zipper, and that's where we're going to have to remove some of those additional stitches in order to put our zipper in. So when they installed the zipper originally, this portion was not there until after the zipper was installed. And that is one of the examples of what makes installing a zipper to replace more difficult. Overall, I think the most difficult thing about replacing this particular zipper would be finding one in a color that is complementary. There are probably not as many zippers available in consumer stores that have this particular color, and I would probably need to find one online. You can absolutely replace a zipper with a different color, but just keep in mind if it stands out against this fabric, it's going to be all the more imperative that you sew very straight. And you also need to make sure that you have a coordinating thread. If you put, say, a navy colored zipper tape there, it's going to stand out a lot more than the current color. And if you have a crooked stitch or a crooked zipper, it will also draw attention to that area. And that would be the challenging part for a beginner when they were replacing this zipper. Our next jacket to examine is that gray one we saw earlier in the video. I liked this one because it was a slight step up. So if I needed to change this particular zipper, I can still get to the zipper fairly easily because it's not fully lined. While it's not imperative to know what all of the different pieces of a garment are called, this little piece on the inside is a facing, and when I flip that facing out, I can see the zipper tape is sandwiched in between the facing and the main body of the jacket. So I'll be able to easily remove this zipper and replace it, and it really won't be as difficult as it might look. Some of the more challenging places to replace this zipper are at the very bottom with this elastic bottom, and then up at the top where the hood attaches. Noticing some of these details is important when you're evaluating whether your skill level and ability will be matched with your ability to replace this zipper. I am not an expert in replacing jacket zippers. I just know that these are all things that I would take into consideration before deciding to replace a jacket zipper. I'm super glad this one isn't broken. Before we go on to our next jacket, let's take a look at this zipper and just discuss some of the ways that are commonly found that zippers are broken. So this down here in the bottom, where the zipper and the pin are, sometimes that can come loose from the zipper tape. That is certainly one of the common ways I see a jacket zipper broken. The actual pull itself can be broken off or just where the pull attaches. If that's the case, I would just try to fashion something that will hook to that. I would not replace the zipper if I could avoid it. Probably the most common way a zipper can be damaged is if the teeth themselves are compromised. The teeth can either be damaged, broken, missing, or pulled completely away from the tape, which won't allow the zipper to zip up. Now that we've learned all this really great stuff about zippers, let's take a look at a more complex zipper that's sewn into this jacket. Because this jacket is fully lined, the actual zipper placement within the jacket is much more complex. When we examine the stitching in this jacket, we'll notice that the collar overlaps the zipper. Overall, this jacket just has a lot more features and things sewn into it that we have to account for when we're planning on removing the stitching to replace this zipper. This being a Carhartt jacket, I probably would tackle this challenge, but I would not say it's going to be easy, and it's certainly not something that if you've never even sewn a zipper that you will really want to tackle. I have seen beginners complete projects as complicated as this, and they have done a great job. So don't let it deter you. Just know that it is not going to be an easy or simple project. If this is the first video you're watching that I've done with zippers, then there is another video. It's about 5 minutes long, and it explains the differences between zippers, the types of materials, how to determine the width, and other things of that nature. So please go watch it if you still have questions about zippers. The next time I have a zipper to replace, I will be filming it. I have asked family members if they have any broken zippers, and I'm waiting to hear back. I have quite a few other videos planned for zippers, just talking about zipper feet and sewing on zippers, things like that. Whew, I've outdone myself. Over 7 minutes and 45 seconds on zippers in jackets. All right, I'm Black Hill Sewing, and I hope you have a great day. And by the way, I love your engagement.